Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So we have just gotten some images for some new Rainbow High dolls, and I have thoughts, so of course I'm here to share them with you all today. Now I am fully aware that Shadow High has also come out with some dolls, and I just have far fewer thoughts on those, so I will discuss them at some point in a future video as just like a little segment. I just didn't want to do a whole dedicated video for it, so I am aware. I just don't have as many thoughts. I don't have enough to say to do a whole video, but for the Rainbow High ones, I think I do. I think I do. I have a lot of opinions, some good, some bad. I feel like that's usually where I end up landing is like there's pros and cons. So we're just going to be discussing all of that today. Of course, these are just my thoughts, so like if you think I'm wrong on every level, that's totally chill. It's not a big deal. Just do please be polite about that if you'd like to express it in the comments down below. Without further ado, let's dive on into the Be Dazzling line. That is what we are calling this new line of dolls. There are 5 characters, and the first one that we're going to be looking at, these are in no particular order, by the way, is I think it's Noemi Violet. I'm not sure. I've never seen that name before, so if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I do apologize. Feel free to correct me in the comments down below. So first, let's just go ahead and talk about the gimmick. I feel like that's a good thing to go ahead and get out of the way. It does have a sort of, again, as the name implies, be dazzling, a bedazzle gimmick to it, where the whole point is that you use a little tool to add gemstones all over the doll's outfit and hair. And it is what it is. Personally, it's not a gimmick that I completely hate, just because one, I am extremely drawn to sparkles. So like anytime there's something glittery, I'm going to be a little bit more forgiving about it, I think. But also, I do think that if Rainbow High is going to keep going down this path where every single one of their like play line releases, so not budget or not collector, but their play line releases has to have some sort of gimmick, I do think that this is a good gimmick to be having, because if you think about the like sparkle and shine dolls that they've done where they have the legs that have either the glitter or like the lava in them, personally I like them because again, shiny things, I'm like, ooh, pretty. But a lot of adult collectors really hate that because you lose even more articulation. You know, with the Rainbow High Soft reboot, we lost the wrist articulation as well as the thigh rotation. And so if you have the legs that are filled with glitter, you also lose even, I think, a little bit more of like the up and down of the thigh, and you lose the knee articulation entirely. So like I can absolutely understand why that is a huge bummer for a lot of people. And then other gimmicks that we've seen, like the I'm going to forget what it was called now, but they did a resin gimmick. And I still think that is absolutely insane that they did that. And like, it was fine, apparently. I think, you know, obviously with the little gemstones and everything, there is a choking hazard for super small children. But I would argue that it's safer than resin. So if we're going to have gimmicks, oh, are you feeling a little playful today? I'll have to get your toys. Reese, you're not doing this on camera. Okay. Anyway. I just think that if Rainbow High is going to have a gimmick, this is one where at least we still get articulation, at least as much as they're willing to give us. And it's less dangerous than some of the other shit that they've pulled since the reboot started. So it's not necessarily my favorite thing ever. Personally, I would just prefer at least one line of dolls without a gimmick. But if we can't get that, I think this is a nice middle ground. That being said, for Noemi specifically, I have seen, I feel like, a lot of positive reactions to this doll, which I do just find sort of interesting. I definitely don't hate her. I think her makeup is incredible. It's very pretty. The hair blend, I'm like iffy on, but it's not bad to me. The dress, I would really like if it didn't have just these random ruffles sewn all over it. That's what's killing it for me. Some of them I don't even mind. The ruffle at the very bottom of this, it's like not quite a bubble skirt, but it's almost a bubble skirt. I think that one looks fine. Even the one under the bust is good. But the ones that are like randomly on like the hip, what's happening there? What are we doing with that? I don't understand why there's a just random ruffle there. Like I like the colors of the outfit and I like the silhouette of the outfit, but I don't understand that part. Maybe I'm being too picky, but she's not the worst. But I certainly don't like her enough to want to purchase her. Sorry, I just hit the mic there. I will try to do better. The next off in the lineup we're going to be looking at is Celine Turquoise. I really only like the dress. I mean, the hair, I will say, I don't think is bad. Like, I honestly think that this blend of this turquoise sort of color with the pink is quite pretty. I think the face is just sort of nothing to me, and it's not like she has a really interesting, intricate hairstyle or anything. You know, like the hair is pretty, but it's also sort of just there. The dress is, again, to me, the best part. I think the off the shoulder is kind of fun. The gold belt is a little bit strange just because I do think the where the bustier meets the skirt, it's not a straight line where it's like, oh, the belt is hitting at that line. It has a V dip to it, it looks like, but then the belt is off. And then there's like another line where the like skirt kind of bubbles out and then ends in a ruffle. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of lines going on, and I don't think that the belt necessarily fits in there. Outside of that, though, just the dress I do think looks pretty cute. But I wouldn't buy the doll like just for the dress, at least certainly not full price. Maybe if she went on like a super clearance, this would be good because then I could redo her hair and maybe add a little bit of paint to her face and then she'd have the cute dress. Like there are bones of prettiness in this doll, I think. I just don't know that the execution is like everything that I would want it to be. Reese is trying to get behind my shelf. Girly Pop, what are you up to today? You're so ferocious. You got like playful energy right now. And then the shoes also are just sort of random. I didn't really talk about the shoes with Noemi. Her shoes I think fit in better with her outfit, whereas Celine, they don't even match the pink of her hair. And like I know things don't have to match, but they just felt a little thrown on for me personally. So another one that I'm kind of like, she exists. I might pick her up on a sale again if it's like a really, really good sale. But if it's like a 15% off, that's not enough even for me to want this doll, and certainly not at full price. Then we get to Adeline Rose, who full throttle, I can't even lie. When I first saw this doll, I was just like blinded by two things. One, she has crimped hair. And if you've been here before, you probably know that I am like a weird sucker for crimped hair on dolls. I just think it is so pretty. I think it's such a fun texture. And it's also like we are seeing it a little bit more lately. Like it's not necessarily uncommon, but it's certainly less common than some other hair textures. And I think it's really pretty and really fun. So that was number one that drew me to her. Number two is the fact that her coloration looks a little bit like Kaya Hart. And I'm a huge, huge Kaya Hart fan, like from way back in the early days of Rainbow High. I know a lot of people are like not as fond of that doll now, but I think she's really pretty. And so this doll reminded me of her because again, like the hair colors and everything feel quite similar. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, it looks like Kaya. This one's actually really cute. I might want to pick this one up. And then I actually like really looked at the outfit and I was like, girl, what are you thinking? What are you doing here? Because it is just sort of random, I guess is a good way to put it. The top of her bustier makes me think of like frosting on a cake. I will say, generally speaking, I'm not someone who loves sweets themed dolls, but I do think that this sort of just vaguely frosting motif is something that I could get behind. But then there's a random zipper that's just like open underneath it, forming a second layer. And I don't see the connection between those two things. Like they do feel like sort of opposite aesthetics. And you definitely can blend something that's like a little bit more edgy, like a non functional zipper, and something that's a little bit more cutesy, like the sort of cake motif on her top there. But there's just nothing else going on in the stall that does blend them. So, like, if the stall had shoes and the rest of her like dress, or I think that this is dress. I can't tell if it's multiple pieces or not, but we're just going to say dress. If the rest of her dress and the shoes and she had accessories and like it all sort of tied everything in, you could make it work. But that just doesn't happen for me with this doll. I do like the sort of gradient on the very, very bottom layer of her dress where it's the pink to the green. I think that's fun. Personally, this level of high-low I do think is a nice, cute level. I don't know what the is going on with these shoes. They look like, oh my God, okay. Fair play to you if you love this stuff. I hate the duck nails where they like flare outwards. I think that is so ugly. Like I just really cannot stand it. And it looks like that. She's got like duck nail shoes. What? What are we doing? The first picture I saw of her was on Instagram and it was her in the box. So I didn't see the shoes. I was just like, oh, she looks like Kaya. Cute. And then again, saw the dress or, paid more attention to the dress and was less impressed. But now seeing the shoes that I couldn't see in the inbox picture, literally what is happening here? Like all of these bits and bobs and pieces feel like they belong to separate entities. I'm very confused. She's another one that I could be convinced to buy on a super sale because the base doll reminds me so much of Kaya and like I like the coloration. I think her face is really pretty. Like the base doll is solid for me and I do think that she could work, but like I'm not paying full price just for all of this when the outfit is something that I'm not really a big fan of. So obviously so far things are not looking great. I promise I do have some nicer things to say. We just haven't gotten there quite yet. And unfortunately, we stay not getting there because next up is Vivian Rouge, and I do think this is probably the worst one. I don't know what it is about her that I dislike so strongly. Honestly, the face and the pigtails, like the skin color is different because it's rainbow versus shadow high, but the face and the pigtails are sort of reminding me of Rosie Redwood from Shadow High from their last core line. But of course, there's like the rainbow in her hair. I don't know, like the rainbow, I don't think it's that bad. I know a lot of people are not a huge fan of the fact that the dolls are getting like rainbows in all of their hair no matter what. I don't always hate it. I don't even think I hate it on this doll. I just don't know that I don't know, the entire execution just feels quite strange to me. Mostly it's this god awful dress. It's oh, that sums it up, right? Like I don't have to keep talking. I just think it's sort of a mess. The shoes are whatever they are, but the dress itself I just think is so bad. Like this ill-fitting like bustier top where it's got the lines for the cups and it's like meant to look a little bit corsety, but it just looks big and awkward and like it was sewn almost for a different doll. Like it doesn't look like this was made to fit her. It looks like she's wearing clothes that are a little bit too big for her in the bust area, like it's not fitting properly. And then we have these horrible sequins. I just said in this video that I love everything sparkly shiny, but when you are using sequins and stuff like that on a doll scale, you have to be so careful because it's different than on a person scale. If you take sequins this size and sew them onto a dress for me, it's going to look like itty bitty tiny glimmers. And it's going to, I mean, if you execute the dress well, it's going to look better. But on a doll scale, they just look so big and chunky and awkward. And then the whole thing is finished off by another random ruffle. I guess that's like a big theme for this lineup is random ruffles. Ultimately, I think what's bothering me about her is that her face feels certainly more mature. Her face feels like it fits in with like earlier Rainbow High and Shadow High, pre reboot. But then her hair, the way it's styled with the rainbows and like with the outfit and everything, feels very childish. And it does feel distinctly like actually childish because I do understand that there are, subcultures and fashions that have more like kiddish designs to them, but they still feel right on an adult. Like they don't feel weird on an adult. This looks like a toddler dressing up for like a little princess party, which is fine for a toddler, like that's different and that's cute and fun. But then her face is like model and it's just weird. I don't know. Like it doesn't work. It's very jarring to me. Can you tell that I really don't like this one? Not a fan. So we can move on. I did unintentionally save my favorite for last. So this is Genevieve Blue. And I just have to point out something that I think is sort of funny. So if you have seen my videos before, you might know I do collect a little bit of My Little Pony. I used to be like more invested in it, but I have had to scale back just because things are expensive and I have to prioritize what I'm collecting, and dolls are above My Little Pony for me. But when I collect My Little Pony, it's mainly G3 and then a little bit of G1. Personally, I'm not a really big fan of Gen 4, The Friendship is Magic. Like, it's just not my thing. But I've obviously seen what the ponies look like. And this one is really, really, really reminding me of Twilight Sparkle for some reason, even though the colors aren't exact. It's just something about her is giving me Twilight Sparkle vibes. And I just think it's kind of funny. Like, it just makes me chuckle. I just personally think that she's the best executed. I have seen some negative opinions about her on Instagram, which, like, that's chill. It doesn't matter to me. But I personally really like her. I like the deep dark blue. I feel like that's not a color that we get as often with Rainbow High. I really like the way that the like quote unquote rainbow has been incorporated into her hair because it really looks like it's just like a couple of shades of pink and green. Maybe there's like a reddish orange in there. I don't mind it. I wish her face was more exciting. I do think that the face is a little bit boring. Like for some reason, the first one that we looked at, Noemi, she was the only one that got really interesting makeup. All the other ones, I mean, I guess Vivian had good makeup too. I just got so distracted by everything else with her. But a lot of them have rather plain makeup. I really do wish that she had more going on because I just think that would really, really elevate her. But her outfit, I do think looks really solid. We have a couple of metallic pieces. There's like a metallic pink sort of harness, and then the bottom layer of the skirt is this metallic silver. And I think that those work together okay because it's not just random metallic piece and nothing else matches. It's like tied in. The rest of it, there's a couple of different layers of this deep dark blue, and the way that the rhinestones are applied, I think it really looks nice. Like it's tastefully done, at least in my opinion. It looks very much like stars, like what I've got going on today unintentionally. It just reminds me of the night sky, especially with the color. So I think that's really, really pretty. And her shoes are just like normal, nice shoes. Like there's nothing weird, like duck build about them. They're just shoes that match her outfit. So this is one that I definitely think I would want to pick up. I'm not yet sure if I would want to go full price because we actually don't know what the full price is as the time of filming this video. If it changes in between like when I'm filming and then when I finish editing, I will put in here somewhere what the price of these dolls is. But right now we actually don't know the cost. I'm assuming that it's going to be in the like $25 to $30 range just because this is like a playline round of Rainbow High dolls and that's sort of been where they've been sitting at. So that's my assumption. I don't know yet if that's like what I want to pay for her, but she's one that I definitely could see myself picking up at some point. The other ones are sort of like question marks, but I'm like, she's cute enough to where I think I would like to have her in my collection. Overall, though, I do think the line is sort of it's just sort of there and I really don't mean to be like doom and gloom, but I feel like it's pretty natural, especially post reboot, to see every Rainbow High release and be like, oh, is this really where we want to be going? Is this like a good sign for the brand? And I don't know if this feels like a good sign, especially because the last like main line of dolls that we got or were supposed to get, again, as of time of filming, they actually haven't shown up in the US yet. We're just still kind of waiting, but it was the second wave of the Sparkle and Shine dolls. And I did discuss earlier how that gimmick is not for everyone, but the fashions and like the faces and everything of those dolls were pretty well received when we got the stock photos. And I personally am still waiting on Whitney, I think her name is, with her little hairless cat. I need that doll so bad. So like we had that and I think that the community sort of collectively heaved this like, oh my gosh, we can feel hope now because there is a gimmick and we still aren't necessarily a huge fan of that, but the fashions look good. The dolls look good. They, have some elements that definitely could appeal to kids, but they don't look inherently like super super childish. I feel like that was a breath of fresh air and I feel like we all collectively were sort of like, oh, maybe things are looking up for Rainbow High, and then this is the next step, and it's a little, I don't want to say alarming because that's like pretty darn dramatic of me, but it's disheartening perhaps is a good way to put it, because it is just, you can see just between the two how one of them has like very detailed outfits and a gimmick that I think has to be more expensive, right? Like it has to be more expensive to do lava lamp legs than throw on some little rhinestones, right? And like the fashions again looked good, the faces and everything looked nice. To this one where a lot of the fashions are questionable, and also they're all just like, again, I think they're all dresses, but at the very least they're all like the same basic setup, even if they are separate pieces, a top and a skirt or a dress. None of the dresses are super long. All of like the dresses, or I'm just going to say dresses because that's just easier. They don't have long sleeves, there's no jackets, there's no jewelry. Literally only one of them even comes with a belt. None of the shoes are really even chunky. Like you don't get a knee-high boot or, God forbid, any fabric shoes like we used to get with Rainbow High. There's not a lot going on with any of the hairstyles. Like they're all rather basic hairstyles, like pigtails or a ponytail at the absolute most. So it just seems like there wasn't a lot put into these dolls, maybe. And that's not to say that they're like terrible dolls because of that. That doesn't mean that. Like I like at least the one. There's a couple others that I think could be decent. Obviously, you guys might love all of these. You might think that these designs are absolutely beautiful, and that's fine. But purely from a quality and like what's being put into it standpoint, maybe not so much. So Rainbow High is just so weird. They just fluctuate so intensely. And because of that, I'm not trying to be like, guys, this is it. This is the end. Rainbow High is over and they're done with. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. I just wanted to point out and talk about the fact that I think it's absolutely bizarre that the last line seemed closer to original Rainbow High. And now we're here. And I'm just very, very confused. So those are sort of my thoughts on the situation. I obviously would love to know what you all are feeling, both about this line in particular, the gimmick and the designs and everything, but also just the future of Rainbow High. Like, do we have any theories? What is going on here? I would love some input on that. So please do let me know. But that's all I have for y'all for today. I do hope you were able to enjoy. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.